Welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast for women on leadership and life skills with Rhea Story.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast episode on 3 things that happen when you invest in you. I wanted to do a podcast episode on this topic because I think so much of the time in life or in leadership on our personal growth journey, we often think or tell ourselves that when the opportunities come our way, then we'll develop, then we'll grow, then we'll work on getting ready. And the truth is that it doesn't work like that. We have to be willing to put the work in to grow ourselves, develop ourselves, and invest in ourselves before the opportunity arrives. Because that means when the opportunity arrives, you're ready. And it also means a lot of times if you wait and the opportunity comes and you're not the one who's prepared to rise up and grab it, then that opportunity will often go to someone who is. And think about this. If you want to invest in yourself, why would anyone else? Why should anyone else? If you won't develop yourself, why would you expect anyone else to do it for you, right? So when we are ready to take responsibility and invest in ourselves, develop ourselves, and bet on ourselves, here are the 3 things that can happen. Number 1, there will be many opportunities waiting for you after you have prepared for them, but not before. And I look back over the course of my journey and I can see this principle playing out over and over again. So I've talked about before, part of my growth and development plan, my personal growth and development plan, is reading a certain number of nonfiction books every year. And I've done that for quite a few years now. And I find that I get something from every one of those books. And even if I only get one thing from every one of those books, that's one way to ensure just continued growth and development for myself over the course of the years. And it's been several years ago, but I remember connecting with someone on LinkedIn and we just had a conversation, right? We connected, we wanted to connect with each other more. So we just, pick up the phone, have a conversation, just kind of get to know each other, talk about leadership principles and personal growth. And that was it, right? It wasn't anybody trying to sell anybody anything. It wasn't anything other than just, hey, let's get to know you just a little bit better. But in the course of that conversation, I could tell that the leadership principles that I could share with that person just came out, right? I wasn't having to think about the best answer for the question, or we weren't having to think about, or I wasn't having to think about how to have a discussion on leadership so that it was impressive or sounded good or anything like that. It was just something that we were having a very natural conversation and discussion that was just authentic and real, talking about leadership principles. And what was so cool was after that call, I didn't talk to that person again for a couple of months. But when they got ready to have an event at the Capitol, the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C., they picked up the phone and said, we'd like you to come and talk about leadership and share your story and your example at the event we're having in D.C. on Capitol Hill. And I think that's just a great example of I've been studying and developing myself and growing my leadership knowledge for several years. But then when that opportunity came up and we had that just authentic, off-the-cuff conversation, those principles that I had absorbed just came out, right, in discussion. And so then I put all of the work in and prepared. But then when the opportunity came, I was ready. Right? So that's the first thing is we have to realize opportunities are waiting for us after we prepare, but not beforehand. Number 2, the second thing we need to realize is that as we grow and develop and continue to grow and develop, new opportunities will appear because you'll develop new relationships along the way. Because when you grow and you're in a different place, that means that you're on a different level. And the relationships that you will attract into your life or repel from your life or leadership will change over time, right? So as you grow, the quality of yourself, your self-awareness, and your leadership abilities the relationships quality will also improve. As you grow and develop, so will the quality of your relationships, personally and professionally, right? Because who we are is who we attract. And so when we grow and develop that, who we are, that character side of us, that's going to naturally attract a different level of person. Not that we're better than anyone else. None of us are better than someone else, but just different or more further along the growth journey in terms of character. And number 3, a lot of times when we invest in ourselves and grow and develop ourselves, we are not aware of it, but there are people around us who are discussing our abilities, our capabilities, and the value that we bring in, again, even though we are not aware of it, right? Those discussions are happening and they can lead to further opportunities. But it's almost, you have to put the work in first before people will notice that you've put the work in, right? You have to be willing to make the sacrifices up front. And the thing with sacrifice, I've said it before, but we always feel the loss of sacrifice before we see the benefit. We always feel the loss before we get the gain. It is just the way it works. And but it's true though, right? And I can remember even throughout my career, when I was still working like in an organization, and having conversations or hearing conversations from senior leaders about people in the organization who had potential. And there would be talk about, well, so-and-so has demonstrated, they're developing themselves, they're going to classes, or, they're working on character, they're reading leadership books, or whatever it is. It would get noticed. When someone developed themselves, it would get noticed by senior leaders. And then there would be discussions about, hey, this person is showing up and showing up in a great way. And that means to the organization, that's like waving a big flag and saying, hey, I'm ready for more. I've taken responsibility and ownership for growing and developing myself and my potential. And that demonstrates that I'm ready for more opportunities in the organization, right? Taking responsibility shows and demonstrates that you are, number 1, willing to step up and take responsibility, but number 2, that you have potential for bigger and greater things. And that's a great opportunity, right? And so all that comes back to, again, being intentional with our growth and development. And we don't know what opportunities are going to come our way. We just have to be working as hard as we can in the daily routine, right? You don't have to do it all day, but you have to do it every day. But when you take that opportunity, when you spend those 15 minutes that you've allotted for growth and development, or maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 1 minute, whatever it is, when you're there, go all in and work hard at it, right? Make sure you're absorbing great material that's going to help you change the quality of your thinking. Changing the quality of your thinking is going to change to the way that you respond to certain situations. It's going to change your actions, your habits, your choices, and that's going to impact your circumstances. So it starts with changing that quality of your thinking and being intentional about all of that. In my book, The Ladder of Influence, 5 Steps for Climbing to the Next Level and Beyond, towards the back of the book, I offer several pages of personal growth or leadership resources that were really helpful for me, and talking about those and where they will help you, whether you're needing something with material that helps you work on control of self, or maybe it helps you with character development or competency development. But I've got a couple pages of resources there broken down by category that just, you can get started, right? Pick up a couple of used books at a thrift store if you don't have a lot of funds to invest, or most of the time these days, you can pick up a lot of just free knowledge online. Look at some great leadership videos. YouTube can be a great resource for that. So there again, there's no excuse, right? It just comes to down to, we have to be intentional about investing in ourselves and developing ourselves if we want to climb to the next level and beyond. Until next time.